Okay, so I want to talk about something, man. That's been going on, man, in the city, man. It's very a lot of crazy things been going on in the city, man, and it's very hurtful for me as a young black man, and having friends that are artists and stuff. The young kid, man, he just got murdered, a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
Houdini. What is going on in this community, man? And like, what can we do as people? Like, I
Well, I
look at
think
you as, someone that is huge for the community. And and I love to want to help people in the community. What can we do to change this, man? Because something has to give, Pat, man, because we're losing. The kid was only 21 years old, I think.
listen, I know the kid, and the problem with knowing the kid is knowing that he had a good heart. I didn't speak to him a lot, but when I did speak to him, very respectful, very courteous, appreciative, and I hear people echoing that sentiment. This fight between the basically hip hop artists is going through this, that, and the third. But I think we as a community, we what we do wrong is we always doing post. We
Mm,
don't we always, and then we throw a bunch of money at it in a band-aid effect. The problem is that we don't have enough outsources and initiatives for youth. Youth are always a afterthought, but you got to understand these kids who are growing up in these communities, especially in the hard hit communities, really 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 they have post-traumatic stress disorder. Because think about every time you come out of the house and you got to look both ways. I was delivering food. I went to Jane and Finch, and then I came down to Falstaff. And one of the kids' parents said to me, Patrick, when you're driving your car, please wind down your window. And I was like, why? They're like, they're shooting. It's called on site. My son said to warn you, just to keep your window open. And that was the first time in my life that I was sitting there, and I've been shot after 4 times. Let's be real. I've been shot after 4 times just being in the hood. So I'm not
mm,
afraid of bullets. I've been around it. I have my gun license. I understand that. But that was the first time I had to really take heed, and I wound down my window because I was watching the news and the hood news, like I'm saying, we're on the hunt. We're going after these guys. These guys are putting it on Instagram and Facebook, and the kids are sending to me. So I had to call some of my players, brothers, and kids that are in our program. I said, please stay in the house for the next couple of days. Be mindful of where you walk and how you're walking. Don't go out too late at night, but at the same time, be vigilant in the daytime because they're hunting y'all. It's just
mm.
the word is on site, which means that if you're with your mother and you look like somebody they wanted or somebody you was around, they're gonna shoot you. So I looked at that, and then this morning I literally opened my phone. I seen this thing where the Toronto Sun had
So
like the disappearing.
disrespectful, man.
I've never
So
felt
disrespectful.
like I tell you, last night I went to bed and I watched the Floyd, literally watched it 10, 15 times, and I ain't gonna lie, I ain't afraid to say it. Like a tear came to my eye. I'm like, I can't believe they killed this guy in front of all these people.
Absolutely.
And
I
then
woke up. I was like, my heart was so heavy
yeah, I
last
didn't,
night from that, man.
and I don't know what to do. Like and for me to really like sit there and say, yo, we got to keep doing what we're doing, but to see him die like that, and then see this young man who just came to do a video and then was gonna go back out the country, die because of some foolishness that they've been having going on, that's hurtful. So I think the first thing we got to do is we gotta have a real symposium where we have a bunch of kids coming together from the get the gang leaders back, get some of the old school guys. One of the big things we need to do is get some of the elders from the communities who started up some of these gangs to start bringing the Jane and Finch, how we used to do with the men's league. We had so much elders in the gym that the youngsters who came with them had to follow suit because the old
Yeah,
guys were. When I was growing up, when those guys said come off the block, you came off the block and you sat on your
facts,
porch.
facts.
Like those older guys have left and left the communities that they in shambles, and they start a lot of this nonsense, but then they go to the Bramptons, the out east and out west, and they don't realize the
Government
damage or
or
the powers that be to do stuff for us that we should be doing for ourselves. These are our kids that are dying, and you got to understand, until we care about our kids, they're never going to care about our kids. So you could say all that stuff about, oh, the tax dollars, it doesn't matter. Your kid has 2 guns in the house and you have it underneath the bed with the drug money, with the thing, and you're going to court. One of my friends is a lawyer, and he said that one of the worst things he's ever seen was he told him the grandmother to go get his paperwork and some money. The grandmother brought a gun, the paperwork, drugs in a sneaker box to the courthouse, and didn't even realize she never looked in there. So
that's crazy.
you have a kid in your house and you don't know what's going on in your house. These parents are smoking weed with their kids, drinking
Mm,
with their kids, and then they're gonna try to tell a kid what to do. Like, come on, let's be real. Like, we gotta take responsibility for our kids. I think that's the solution. Give us the
Mm,
power, give us the resources as parents, and let's see if we can organize ourselves and get the right people to do it. Because now with COVID, my biggest fear is everybody who can write the best grant is going to come in the hood and tell us how to save ourselves, and they're going to pay themselves. You know, if it's a $200,000 grant, they're going to pay themselves $190,000 and then give $10,000 to the community. That's not right. So that's another thing. We as community leaders, yourself, people like us who have organizations and are there, we got to make sure that if the money's coming in the community, it's going to be, steered by people of the community who are going through the struggle, not somebody who read a book at York University is going to tell us how to deal with our own peoples. I'm sorry, but I don't respect it. And I'm never going to respect that. I'm sorry. We give us the power, the tools, and the training, and let's see what we can do.
mm. It's just sad, man. Especially when you have friends that are artists. Like I have friends that are artists, TV Gucci and Molly
Hmm.
Sways and these guys, and I just had to message both of them and just tell them please be careful out there,
Be
and just
careful.
give them prayer, man, because it's I don't want to see any more deaths, man, and we got to do something to change this because it's just getting out of hand. It's
Very
getting
much.
out of hand, and I'm tired of getting a message. I don't know Houdini. I never met him before.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
I didn't even
that's
know he was a rapper. I know him
yeah.
as a basketball player.
I heard that too. You know what I mean? But we just can't. We got to stop this, man. It
And
needs
this
to
weekend's gonna
end.
be bad. Like I'm telling you, the warmer it gets and kids start going outside. And one of the big things I said to somebody before, I'm watching all these reintegration things with kids from the community going back. I mean, families and companies going back into the community, phase 1, 2, and 3. We don't have no phase 1, 2, and 3 for our youth. Think
Mm,
about it. They've been in the house for 2 months. What's the phases? What's the phases in getting them back into the community? Nothing. I don't hear nothing. It's quiet, and that's dangerous in itself. Because when you let them all out, and they've been on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all this shit, talking about each other and fighting, internet, Twitter fingers. What happens when they come out in the street? Now I see you. I see you. Or I'm coming to see you. It's going to get
mm,
worse. There's no school occupying their time. So when they get
nothing.
out, it's warm. It's nothing about what we're going through. Where you can say, yo, I can tell you a real story that you probably couldn't handle. And that
Facts.
I think is so. I think if guys like yourself start to get to the Olus, the Denims, like guys who come from the hood and sometimes are still respected by the hood, come together and say, yo, we're going to put a stop together to this and we're going to start to, you know, slight inroads and connect with people like myself. And my thing to say, yo, I'm advocating because this group of 5 or 6 guys has a great initiative, either a film initiative, a music hip hop initiative, a basket. It has to. And I always tell people have a problem with people of our color doing basketball and adding money to it. And I'm going to call it out. Like the people, people who are different colors can make millions off of basketball and nobody says anything in Toronto.
No one says
And
it.
as soon as, a guy from the hood says, yo, I'm going to charge $200 for something that's probably valued at 1,000. God, you're charging, you must be feeding your family. I don't know why you're feeding your family with my money. I'm not doing it. And then we'll go down the street and pay $400 for the same thing. Lesser
Same
coaches
thing.
with, and I have a problem with that. So because
I
now,
never I never understood that. Makes no
yeah,
sense.
it's a bad premise because it's like it's like you going to the store and want quality but don't want to pay for it. And then when it breaks, you want to go in the store and cuss the person out. Well, you went to the dollar store for something that you want to use every day. Go to the right store. You know what I'm saying? So there's
Yeah.
levels, there's levels to it. There's levels to it, and you have to look at it. Like there's money's being put behind. Somebody said hockey, which is true. My son plays hockey, and I spent thousands. I'm talking about 10, 15, $20,000 a year on club hockey. So when parents are talking about, oh, I spent $800 for a whole AAU experience, y'all crazy as hell. I wish I could pay two
Yeah,
thousand dollars.
that's not even bad at all,
Yeah,
really.
like
Like,
and you getting the whole experience. People are leaving their families, to spend time with you and take care of you. And then when it's done, like in COVID, it's so funny. We have a group of coaches, and in COVID now, a lot of these organizations, a lot of these kids who went to the bells and whistles. Now it's time for recruiting. Can't find a school. That coach who was the greatest ain't got no film on you. But guess what? Patrick Big Mouth was at every game. I got all types of film. I
yeah.
got you. So I'm putting film together. Players that ain't got nothing to do with us. We on the phone working. We working. So those are some of the things that people don't even realize. Like when COVID's going on, we started to save the basketball community. And it's not just us. We have a coalition together where we have, I have a Sisters Keeper in New York because we went to New
Hmm.
York and
Yeah.
we seen the need and we are supporting girls in New York here, from here.
And
They
that's
have 3
crazy.
sets of uniform. They have their whole AAU and 2 seasons worth of gear, clothes, and connections. They don't have to worry about
That's
that.
crazy.
This is kids in the hood in New York. So let's
In
be
New
real, man.
York.
You know, I have a guy, KP, in New York who takes care of us from the Rose League, Foxy Brown's Brothers League. You know, so that's
Mm,
another thing. So we got that connection. Then we have Red Rush, Fareed in Montreal. We have Merrick, who grew up in the jungle. Palmer is doing out of Ottawa Capitals. We got Uplay. We got Sisters Keeper, Become One, Brampton Warriors, all working together. People don't even know we've been working together for almost, a year. And everybody thinks we're fighting, but they don't even realize behind the scenes we're pulling all types of strings behind women's basketball.
mm,
And it would be good if the guys' basketball could come together like that, because we used to hate each other. We used to
yeah.
hate each other. And I
Mhm.
got caught up in some of that stuff because I thought that's how you guys do it over here. You guys kill everybody. So, a girl walked in the gym, and she ain't from us, we ain't taking care of like that. But,
Mm,
through evolution and growth, and also meeting people in different stages where we broke bread together, where we struggled together, we're on a tournament and we're like, yo, how can we help such and such? The mindset changes and we realize that's the way that people used to do stuff from back in the day. And it never worked. So why are we still doing it? And, so that coalition has been great for girls basketball because we
that's
get a
amazing,
call
man.
and we have 6 organizations working on that
I love
one
it.
girl's situation. And as you see, you watch Instagram every day, somebody's getting signed.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting signed. Every girl that Sisters Keeper has push out has scholarship offers or is ready to go. And
That's
most of these
amazing. I
girls
love it.
are first time college students. And people don't
Mm,
understand it. It's bigger than basketball. We have a girl
facts.
right now, Cheyenne's sister, that has about 4 or 5 offers. But because she's picking a course that I've never heard before, I don't even know how to say it. It's somebody who checks the numbers of an accountant who checks numbers. Like I don't even know how to say the name. And we're talking to schools. They're like, we don't even do that, but we can find something put together. So we're finding schools that fit her track and field, her basketball, but also her college aspirations. Where before I
Yeah.
just be like, yo, you want to play ball? Let's go. I didn't even really want to. I just say you need to find a business class and then we could deal with something later. But now it's like we're in such a strength in numbers situation where any coach that acts up in America, we say, yo, we have 2 girls right now as a unit. I mean, 2 teams, 2 universities in America that are on the ban list. And every day
Mm,
they call me, yo, Pat, how we can make it right? No, you try to screw our girls. You try to be bad, do bad business and lie and try to mess up our girls' recruiting. So as 6 organizations from Montreal all the way to Toronto to Brampton has
yeah.
banned the school, and now we
Good.
realize, oh, we got some real power here. We got
That's
some real deal power. Like
good.
we can direct traffic a little bit better because we're working together and we're not fighting against each other.
Mm,
And so and then one of the coaches, truthfully, was at another school, did bad business, but the person, because organizers was disenfranchised, they were fragmented, so we didn't even know. So we were talking to a school, and then because somebody said, Pat, don't do it, it's a bad coach. And I said, let me just give it a thing. And the coach did the same script at a different school. And we were like, damn. So we said, you're banned. Called her, said, you would never, ever get one of our kids ever again. And I've gotten calls about 10 times from the coach or their outsourcers saying, please, what can we do to break bread? And we're like, no, you banned for a while. We'll talk to you later. You know what I'm
good.
saying? Because don't do that to our little babies. Because when they go down there, we're trusting you to take care of
Exactly.
them.
To take care
And
of them.
and the parents are trusting us because they don't know basketball like us to
Mm,
make the right decision for their child. Because, I was talking to Smallings yesterday and he said he's been there where parents have said, yo, you're now, African families say, yo, now you're that uncle. They call him uncle right away. And you make the decision. You make the decision for my child because I trust you. You've been there from day one and you've never steered them wrong. So we don't
mm,
have an opportunity to make those mistakes. We have to try to be as best as possible and then ask these kids, once you get down there, do right by your family and do right by us, because the schools are trusting us to send somebody who's not going to go down there and be a bum and be lazy and don't listen and then come back and lie and say the coach burnt me. Coach didn't like me. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that
that makes sense, man.
yeah, so it's a great time for basketball. It's a great time for community, even in this COVID and even in this, the down times and the shootings. Good things are happening, and people have to understand that it's not just bad in the hood. It's not just bad in the culture. The culture is learning, and I'm watching on some of the chat rooms that I'm with different coaches used to hate each other are now starting to talk and hit up
That's
each other and
good, man.
and
It
strategize.
don't make sense to beef, man. For what,
Yeah,
man?
it's a waste of time, and it's so much. I see guys that literally stress over this little beef. I'm talking about grown men, veterans in the game, stressing
Yeah.
over beef that it was 20 years, 30 years ago. Come on now, like get over it. She has a new husband right now. She don't like none of y'all. Like stop it. Like let's go.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving. Like, it's just it is what it is. But you know, so like for me, I just want to build. I want to work with people. I want to build a culture on both sides, but I ain't going to the boys' side. I want to stay on the girls' side. But work
We
with the
have to
boys.
we have to sit down, and we really got to sit down when this whole COVID thing is done, and really put stuff together, man, to help the
Hmm.
community with, so we could put an end to this nonsense of this killing, man. It's been tough, man. The back to back deaths, man, with the guy from Florida. I mean the guy from Minnesota, and then
Yes.
the kid over here. It was just like so much in such a short span. Like
And
my
then
heart was real heavy.
supposedly the girl downtown, I don't know what it is,
Yeah,
but
and
they're
then the
saying she
girl,
got pushed off
she got
off the
pushed
thing.
off the balcony or
You
something
know,
like that.
yeah.
In
So
Toronto,
people,
I think where was it
Toronto
in? Bro?
downtown, yeah,
Yeah, downtown, somewhere downtown Toronto. Like there was so much going on,
yeah,
and
and
I was just
then
like, yo, we have to stop talking about it, and we have to do something.
yeah,
Like
like
we
there's
gotta
something
sit
going.
down and do something.
Something happened on Western Road. I just seen girl got punched in the face by a police officer, and like we as men have to realize, like, you know, every woman I look at I'm a mama's boy, I'm a grandma's boy. I have so much love in terms of what women have to do every day and
Mm,
what they have to go through. And and that they're not second or third class, they're fourth and fifth. They have to work 10 times harder than we have to work. And when they get to a status where feel as though they could just punch them in the face and we as black men sit there and don't say nothing, I
that's
have a
just not
problem
right.
with that.
Yeah.
Because I look at my mom struggling with 3 kids, 2 jobs, and going to school, and she never made an excuse, and we never needed or wanted for anything. Every summer I came to Canada, I had a great old time. While
Mm,
she went to work, I came over here and went to everything, Caravana, Canada's Wonderland. Like
yeah.
so when I look at that, the sacrifices that she made and never complained, and these guys think they can just assault and abuse and disrespect our moms. We can't let that happen anymore because it's a direct representation of how these kids are reacting on the street. They're waking up angry at the world, and they're looking at us as elders and saying, "You let it happen, so OG, don't talk to me because it
Mm,
happened on your watch. You're
yeah.
telling me not to sell drugs, and you're still on the block selling weed. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't graduate. I got more money than you. You know what I'm
Fact,
saying? You working
fact.
for me now. You buying weed for me. You're gonna tell me not to sell weed? So we got to set an example where we're examples. Like
Mm,
we might not be great in everything we do, but everybody I met in Canada as an OG has some kind of skill that they can pass through, and they have history they can tell that they've been there, and I think that's part of it too. I think that's when you say sit down talk. I think you have a great database of guys that even if you do like you do something small, Antuies, right? Right in Rexdale.
sure. Facts.
You grew out of Malton. You got somebody you called Denham from Jane and Finch, and you just go
Mm-hmm.
right up the street, the areas, and pick one of the guys that you has come from your era, and say, "Yo, we gonna start it." And then
Mm-hmm.
we'll pick the people that we feel as though can do the job. And I think that's we have to start handpicking people, who have a skill. And the one thing I would advise you if you do that is don't pick a gym coach to be the handler of the money. Don't pick, a cook to be the basketball head coach. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has a skill, and I think one thing about us in the community, we held every hat. So we were the driver, we were the cook, we were the organizer, but we weren't good at all of them. We were good at
Yeah.
being a coach. So I
Facts.
think the big thing is if with you guys having so much knowledge on the people now, you can say, "Yo, Patrick Shaw was a great speaker, but goddamn, he couldn't coach a lick." And I'll
Mm,
be happy with that. And I say, "Pat, you go there and present for us. We'll give you all the information and your knowledge and thing. You go do that. I'm gonna let somebody else coach. I'm gonna let somebody else be the financier. I'm gonna let somebody else be the lawyer." Like, and
mm-hmm.
if you settle it, because one thing they don't have in Canada, and we've spoken about this for years, is a fraternity of coaches and players where they have the best interests of the community and players at heart. And I think that's something that maybe you guys need to put together where people can come back. And when they come back, just like the referees have a fraternity, like I said, when I go home, I got tons of friends who are referees now. They're in the Black Referees Association or the People of Color Association, where there's black, brown, Spanish, everything in that fraternity. And they make sure that basketball from the referee side is handled right.
Mm.
And so something that happens
Huh?
Yeah, like there has to be something. What do these players do when they come out of basketball? I've seen so much players say, "I don't want nothing to do with basketball anymore." They
And I
hate the
don't know
game,
why. I don't know
hate the
why.
game, and it's like
That's crazy. I know
you
so
were
much guys like
great.
that too.
Yeah. So what do we do? Because you know what? When they come out of basketball, basketball hasn't given them something left to do, like something other to do to build in the game. But if we set something up where somebody comes from 4 years of school, has a business degree, says, "Yo, something like how the OBA has their system. They have a system that's set up where there's different part and parcels. Not for years, OBA said they would never do prep school. Prep school was bad. Prep school
Yes.
was that. And
Yep.
then when they seen the change, they because they had a business acumen, they were able to change with the times and now
Mm,
provide something where people in Canada can now be serviced instead of sending our kids away to America to places where
crazy.
it might not be conducive to living, much less education.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you guys can do that, and you just target the right people because there's guys out there that if the leadership comes right and gives them
And
the right,
Blackwood
they
is
would.
is great. You
Yeah,
know.
like you got good guys out there that if you say, yo, you put the call out and say, let's just sit down, talk, and parlay. You got Leanna Osi, who's come
Mm-hmm.
from Jane Finch and
Yes.
now is a coach. Like you
Yep.
got people out there who's come from the hood that can tell you a story and now say why they want to help. I think those type of people you gotta make the call out. I think that would be it. And I'm telling you, the one thing about that, when you do that, the money comes. United Way, there was $3.5 million. They're looking for people to organize. They're looking for somebody with the great ideas to fix things that they're dumping money at. City of Toronto has it. The federal government, the Ontario provincial government, everybody's throwing money. And now in tragedy, I know people will say it's bad, but in this tragedy, there's even going to be more money getting dumped in because of the shooting. Because
Mm-hmm.
the city of Toronto put a call out that they might lose 519 police officers. Do you think it's going to get better if those police officers are not hired because of COVID? Who's going to have to police our communities? Us.
Exactly. Us.
So those are the things that we have to work on. It's bigger than ball, but ball is the like I said, is the genesis of a lot of this stuff. And through the basketball, you already have ins in the community because
Mm-hmm.
you're touching a lot of times families who don't have a lot. So you're real to them because you're helping us and we don't have a lot. So it's easier to get in with them. So I think that's something I would charge you with making a call out to your peers and target people from different areas who have a voice. Yeah, because like you said, it's not going to change. These
It's
kids are
not,
going to,
man.
it's good. Every day you're going to, I'm telling you, I'm predicting, and I hate to predict stuff like that. It's going to be 2, 3 shootings every week for the next 6 or 7 weeks until people
That's
feel as
crazy.
though they're happy. And after every shooting, there's another shooting because it's a retaliatory shooting.
Exactly.
And if they don't know who it is, they shoot 2 or 3 communities up until just because sometimes they have so much beefs that they have to shoot up more than one community.
Yeah, they don't even know exactly where it's coming from, so they just
Yeah,
target, a few.
yeah. So I charge you guys with that, man. I know it's a lot on y'all shoulders, but
Yeah, it has to be done because I just can't. Like, I never felt like that in a while. It's like so much happened, and for a black man, a young black man, I'm just like sitting here like I don't even know none of these dudes,
no,
and
and
it's
you
weighing
feel it
on my heart, and I feel the pain.
because they're
You know what
you
I
and
mean?
they look like you.
Yeah, you know what I
And
mean.
it could
So,
be it could be people in your family, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, that there was a young kid and a lady walking who got caught in the crossfire. That could be any of us, any of our kids, any of our family
yeah,
members.
man,
When it's
yeah.
on site, they're spraying. My mother will never go to Carabana again because she came over here, and in the year of Carabana, the lady from England got shot in her head,
Mm,
and she used to come to Carabana every year, and she will not go.
she ain't coming no more.
It
I
was
don't
because she
blame her.
saw it. She was traumatized. She said, "I'll never go. I'm not coming there to get killed." So think about the kids who can't not go someplace.
Hmm.
I have kids right now who have to walk from Falstaff, walk underneath that bridge to No Frills. That's a death walk to some kids, and people don't even realize it. And then you expect them to walk around and not be angry. You
Hmm.
have people from coming back from war that kill people in the malls because of post-traumatic stress syndrome. These kids have been going through it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They've been in an area that's been areas that are shot up every day, and people are telling them to watch their back.
That's just
Think
crazy.
about that stress every day walking out of your house.
That's a lot of stress, man. That's
Think
a
about
lot.
somebody
That is a
telling you
lot.
don't leave your house because you've been in the house for 2 months, but there's going to be a gang war going on and you can't leave your house. But it's sunny as hell outside, no air conditioning, 2 bedroom apartment with 8 people.
Mm.
Come on now. Like, that's the type of stuff these kids are dealing with. And people don't want to hear that, but it's the real. It's the real, and I think that's part of the issue that a lot of these people are going to have to deal with. And in society, either they deal with it now or they're going to deal with it later. Because now it's always been the problem is when people in the hood are killing each other, it's they got to police themselves. But these kids are
Hmm.
not staying in the hood and shooting anymore. Blue Jay Way, Eaton Center, broad
That's
daylight.
crazy.
So now
Broad daylight.
it's coming to your front door now. So now it's not a
Crazy. That's the craziest thing. How people are just getting shot in the day. Like
this is not
4 o'clock.
hoodie up, hide.
Yeah.
It's on site. So I think the big thing is now because it's in their front door, they're gonna have to see it. It's not a black problem anymore. It's a societal problem. And until
Exactly.
you fix it, these gangs are not just black people and people of color anymore. There's white kids in there that are hardcore as hell. I'm watching them on Instagram going downtown robbing people and doing all this kind of stuff. So guess what? It's cool to go and do these things now. And when it becomes cool, that's when it becomes a problem.
Fact.
So that's another thing that we gotta deal with. So like I said, and people, and I want to be clear. Like I have friends who are police officers who grew up in the hood and now police
Me
officers who
too.
want to come back in the hood, but people like myself and other people like, oh no, you can't talk to cops. Cops locked up my uncle last week. No, 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 no. For this to work, every part of the community has to work. They
Hmm.
don't want to listen. There's two options right now. There's jail and death. So if they don't want
That's
to
it.
listen, you have to be real with them and say, pick your choice. But when you start to do things on this level, when you come back out, I had a cousin that got locked up in in that time, and when he came out, he couldn't use a regular cell phone. He was like, "What the hell is an iPhone?" When I went in there, I had flip
He
phones, a
didn't know how to
razor,
use
and
it.
a BlackBerry. Time will
Mm.
pass you by, and you being the king of the block, come back out, you'll get punked off for the little kid that you were growing up back in the days. So like we gotta know we just gotta grow. We gotta do the right thing. We gotta make sure things are handled right. And I think the big key is nothing happens without money. Somebody told me that yesterday, and I was like, you are so right. We gotta make sure that the money and the structure is there. And like I said, people like yourself and other leaders in the community are really, really behind it. But you're not going to stop your full-time job to make $5 an hour and you can't feed your family. You got to
Mm.
hire the right people to do these jobs. So they come and they say to you, I'm going to give you a 5-year commitment to what you're doing. And then if you do what you're supposed to do, it obviously will last longer. You'll leave your job. I would leave my job for something like that
Of
if I know it's going
course.
to be
Of
impactful.
course.
So they just gotta
Yeah.
understand. They just make the proposal, give us the same amount of time you take to fix budgets, you tend to fix the TTC, you take to fix, the Crossline Expressway off of Eglinton. Give us those are all community issues, societal issues. Well, this is a pandemic on black youth right now. It's a pandemic on that. So the same energies and powers you put on COVID and Ebola and all these other stuff, put that same effort into our youth and our communities because it's becoming if you I always tell people and growing up in America, when I used to come here, it's like, oh, Canada's like 2-3 years behind. So everything that's happening in America now with the cops and the people now burning down things and fighting back, it's going to happen in Canada eventually. So either you
Mhm.
you look at what's happening in America, you see what's happening, and you learn from that because now they're the test buddies. So
Yeah.
so you say, listen, we don't want to do that. So guess what? Sensitivity training, getting the cops, hiring people who look like each other in the community. So the police officers always they're not police officers who live in Barrie and they're just coming here and trying to police people with they're afraid.
They're scared. They're scared to death.
Yeah,
Like.
so they're coming approaching you with a gun. They're talking to you
Mhm.
like you're beneath them. So let the community see that the police officers look like them. Make a certain amount of people have to live in the community or live in the GTA. How about you do that? It's a simple fix because
Mhm.
you're taking municipal money to hire people. How about you hire police officers who are going to police the communities that they come from?
Fact.
It's a simple solution. They do it in
Fact.
America, and it's changed communities because it literally went back to community policing. But those police officers actually come from the community, so they actually enjoy helping.
Facts.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
there's simple strategies that can happen, but if you don't institute them, then now you're having a police state where you're locking down stuff. You're sending 500 police officers in communities and now locking down areas. It's not going to work like that. And I think that's simple strategies to big problems give very good solutions. And I think that's what it is right now.
Facts. That's crazy, man. We're definitely gonna do something, man. I got to, man. I can't sit around and just watch it, man. My heart's been heavy the last couple of days.
Hmm.
I gotta sit down with a bunch of guys and just get things done, man. I
I'm
can't. Enough is enough with just talking about it. Like I gotta really do something, man.
and
And
I can
it's
plug
gonna
you guys
start.
into some people that I've been working with that can write great grants and are begging begging for some black men to come to the table. And I've
Mm,
been asking for years, but we're all doing stuff in our little silos. If we can get 4 or 5 guys from different areas to come, trust me, trust me. This,
definitely. I'm definitely gonna get it done, man. I'm definitely gonna get it done, man. And
yeah,
Blackwood is definitely a guy on my radar. I love what he does in the
100%.
community, and he's all about his community. So he's like right off the rip. And I know once, I tell him what I'm trying to do. I know he's gonna be for it. So
And like I said, I pledge myself to help on this initiative because it's something that I wish I had more support on some of the initiatives I had from people of my community because it looks better in terms of, and we have to be real. Like when I film stuff, I film it because I have to have a record of that it happened.
mhm,
And some people say, why are you filming to show off? It's not about filming to show off. People who have money don't believe unless they see it.
exactly.
People don't want to help unless they see you doing it because
Mhm,
they've been burned so much times that people saying, I'm going to do this and that. I'm going to buy 10 basketballs and they buy one. And then the rest of the money goes in somebody's pocket. So, we have to have the data. We have to have the pictures, and we have to have the people who can say, yo, there's a turnabout. If we have
mhm,
17 or 18 kids graduating college, that is a litmus test to say that it can happen. It can
mhm.
happen no matter where
Facts.
you're from. If you have kids who are failing in the public school system because there's 30 kids in a classroom with one teacher trying to teach them, or you go to a school that has less classroom size and the teachers are getting paid to stay longer and teach these kids who can't learn in the big classroom setting, and they succeed, that's proven. That's not a maybe or if and or maybe I thought about it or maybe it might work. It's being proven every day in the schools that have the resources. So
Mhm,
when you have kids in school for 5, 6 years talking about they're coming back for the 5th year, why do you need to be in a 4-year high school for 5 and 6 years? The school
exactly.
failed you. The kids didn't fail. The school
Mhm.
failed you. Somebody didn't teach them.
Yeah.
Huh? If you can't teach a kid how to graduate in 4 years, then you shouldn't be a teacher. And and if you've been there
Facts.
so long that you can't teach our kids, find a creative way, which is either lessen the classroom size or be a better teacher. But you can't keep on saying, "Oh, they're not paying me." You
I
need to.
definitely think the classroom sizes, man. They don't need to be packing these classroom sizes with 40 and 50 kids. Not everybody learns like
Sardines.
that, man. It's
I
not,
couldn't learn
yeah.
like that.
Me
I could.
neither. No,
I
not at
tell
all,
you, I gave trouble on purpose just so I could go stay in detention, so the teacher could give me extra help. People are like, "Yo, Pat, you
man.
always in detention." I was too cool to try to stay back for extra help, so I got in trouble on purpose. And I'd be like, "Yo, teach, show me this homework," because I'm going home. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, especially with
Yeah.
math. I tell you, the people. My brother told me day one, Pat, all you need to do is count money. So I grew up like, yo, okay, as long as I can count money, I know math. And then I realized, nah, you need a little bit more than that. So that's the real world. Kids tell me, yo, Pat, look at my pocket, it's fat. Why do I need to learn how to count? I can count this.
Mm,
And I remember, and when the young man told me that, I'm like, that was me. I was like, yo,
mm.
that's all it's about. It's money right now. As long as I have money, I'm good. And
Yeah.
and then you get into the real world, you realize that only lasts so long. If you don't know how to
So
count, somebody be cheating the shit out of you.
exactly.
You be getting cheated on your contracts and everything. So, it's real, like, the world is changing, but it's the same. The things that we
Mm,
went through, I seen your era go through it, and then now we seen these young kids go through it. There was killing in every era. There was drugs in every area. There was police beating us up in every area. There's racism in
power
every
because
area. She didn't vote. She assumed I didn't like Hillary. I didn't vote. And I said, you were one of the people who voted for Trump. And she said, how? I said, because a non-vote was a vote for Trump. And
exactly.
we as a community, I look at the communities every time. And I check the stats because I like to educate myself. And I look at the black communities and a lot of these counselors and premiers and blah, blah, blah. They do not vote in the black community. So now if I'm a counselor or I'm a MP or MPP or whatever the levels are, and I look and I see who voted for me, and I see how I got into power, do you think a lot of my energy is going to be put on an area that hasn't voted?
Mm,
I'm
facts.
gonna I'm gonna go take care of the people who are keeping me office for 14 years.
Exactly.
So I charge people with saying, listen, if if the people of color and of race and creed would vote collectively for one bad person, when that bad person is, you hold them accountable, and then when they're accountable, you say, if you don't do by us, we vote you out. But
Mm.
you had bad people doing nothing for you for years, and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna vote. I'm not gonna vote. So like it doesn't. Like that concept doesn't make
Don't
no
make no
sense to me.
sense.
It's
No
like
sense.
it's just like a slave mentality. Like, okay, we're happy with the little bit of food we're getting because it's a little bit better than nothing. While
Mm-hmm.
everybody's in the house eating steak, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You're eating chickpeas and rice and peas, and that's why we eat rice and peas every day now. We eat chicken feet because that was the food that they gave the slaves, and now
Yeah.
now oxtail and chicken feet are delicacies. So it shows that no matter what you give us, we can turn it into gold, but we got to put that energy behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So that's what it is right now. That's what it is. So I don't
100%.
want to talk your head off, but I know we went past basketball, but I'm
No, no, this
passionate.
was needed.
I'm
This was
passionate about
needed,
this
bro.
kind of stuff.
This
This is
was
the stuff
needed,
that
and this is why I had to have this talk. When you were like, "Yo, Tasha and them are not gonna be," I was like, "No, no, no, no. I didn't want to have. I just wanted you. I
yeah, because
wanted you."
I want them to be individuals, like, because
Yeah,
people come to me like, yo, Patrick is making decisions for them or talking for them. I'm like, you
yeah,
don't understand how you see, one thing about us as people of culture, we empower our women.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, these girls are, because they've been in that vacuum. You got to think about this. These girls have been carrying their family, carrying a community, carrying a basketball team, carrying a school basketball team, carrying the weight of Canadian basketball now. And now they just signed to Syracuse, and now people are saying to them, "You have to do right by Syracuse." They didn't even step in the door yet. They can't officially sign until November.
yeah.
But now they're carrying Syracuse on their back. So I'm telling people, you guys don't understand the beast that y'all dealing with. Because you see them on the court and they're monsters. They're also very energetic and understanding of life off the court. They might
Yeah.
show you, certain sides of immaturity, but we as grown people are immature. But at the same time, they're intelligent as hell, and they see things and they see right through your when fakeness. You're saying Patrick is telling them what to do, I'm like, nah. Talk to them yourself, and you'd be like, damn.
That's people who don't know anything. Obviously,
I know.
People,
Yeah, but I always gotta address them, because if I'm the kind of person, if you have something to say to me, I will call you. So you can call me anytime. I'll give you my number. I don't, because I come from the mentality, if you don't pay my bills, if you can't take care of my family, you can say whatever the hell you want to say about me. Because at the end of the day, that's your job to do that. Like, the haters are gonna hate all day, every day, and if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have motivation.
Facts.
100%. So yeah. So that's what it is, man. I don't know. Like, I think the culture is good, but like I said, I'm charging you guys, the Denims, the Chris's, the yourself, the Antuis of the world, and all the way across the board. That now this is time for y'all to step and take from what the mistakes we made and some of the stuff that we have in our hands, but we are just a little bit far away from it enough that you guys can come in and can carry us to the next level. Maybe you might make some of us a CEO of something because of the connections that y'all have. That might be it. You guys might teach us something because some of us didn't go far in school. We just went far enough to get out in college. But some of you guys are coming with degrees, and that basketball got you, and life stories that now you guys can educate us and say, this is how you need to do it. This is how the business world works. This is how the computer age works. This is how the Zoom world works. Like all these coaches like Pat, I'm talking to them. They're like, oh, I don't even know how to find this Zoom thing. I'm hanging up on me 20 times on a Zoom chat. And I'm like, these guys, they're learning stuff. But these are stuff that y'all been doing for years. Like, you know what I'm saying? You guys know how to get on these different things. Even when I told you about this, I'm like, you and my boy KP, I said, listen, man. In this time, y'all need to get on Instagram and start talking to people, because the kids communicate. They live on it. And I've seen it for myself. They live on it. So you guys need to get on it and educate them, because you're speaking right to them instantly. It's real time. It's real time. And they see you, and it's like, yeah. So it's so real, because I'll pop on somebody's stuff and just listen and be like, damn, this is real. And it's like a TV show now, because you're stuck in the damn house. You just on Instagram screaming to the best site. Be nice one day, DJ Khaled. There's so much stuff that I can hold my time, especially, so like it's nice that in this time that we are learning and we're growing and we have time to plan, and me and you could build like this, and you can go out and go go get other people to to carry the mantle and like I said, teach the village and help the village grow, because I love the culture in Canada. I love the culture in
Facts.
Toronto. I love that people from different socioeconomic levels can come here, and it's almost reminds me of New York back in the days, how people just come from all over and just build, and it wasn't no Italian or Portuguese or West Indian. I was eating from Pablo's house. I was eating the orange rice and the empanadas and all that kind of stuff. I grew up eating Spanish food because I'm at Raul's house chilling. He my next door
Yeah.
neighbor. My mom ain't home. He said, "You want some?" I said, "No, Jamaican parents don't eat from nobody's house, don't drink." And then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Yo, I'm sneaking food. Come home. Why you ain't hungry?" I'm good. I'm good. And then because I ate a full plate at Raul's house, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
can't tell my mom I ate Spanish food. She'd kill me. But it is
Facts.
what it is. Yeah. But now it's like it's those type of things are acceptable, and it's growing. I have a young player whose mom every day she puts a prayer out on Instagram. I mean on WhatsApp. And the last couple of days with all the stuff going, I read, Ivy, I read her mom's prayer because it just
Mm,
felt good. When she would put something down, and when that kid died, it was like on point, just the way I was feeling. And I started to read, and I'm like,
mm,
she doesn't even know. She just sent it out to her group. She don't even really know that it helped me kind of just say, yo, you need to have some time with whichever spiritual power that you believe in, and just get closer to that person or that feeling or that being, whatever it may be, because we're not really in this time. We all gonna go crazy if we don't start to connect with something. So
facts.
it's real, right? It's real. So
Facts.
it's a different world, right?
Okay. I got one more question for you, man. I'm gonna let you go, man. I've been killing you today, man. I want you to give some advice, man. Like, I got Tasha and Shy. They're a lot of girls are looking up to them, you
Hmm.
know, and they might not even know that they're role models for other girls their age or maybe even younger. And what kind of advice can you give to that young girl who's trying to be the next Cheyenne or the next Tasha?
I'll give you two things.
Hmm.
It happened twice. We were in a tournament, and we were late for a game, and we got there late because I thought I knew a GPS and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. End up late. We're running into the gym, and while we're going up, it was in Atlanta. The escalator's going up, and there's about 10 group of girls at the top of the escalator. They see us and they stop. They won't go on the escalator. They're stopping and holding up the escalator, and they're smiling. And they pointed, as soon as Cheyenne and Tasha got to the top, they pointed. Hey, 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 hey. And I'm like, Cheyenne, let's go. We late. And she ain't never on time. She ain't never dressed. She always half dressed. And, I'm like, it's going to take you 10 minutes to get warmed up in the game and whatever. The girl looks at it, and you could see, like, damn, I had a chance to get a picture with this girl. They had their cameras ready. And Cheyenne looked at me and she said, Pat, can I? And I said, go ahead. And I was pissed off. I said, go ahead. She turned around. She took a picture with one. It ended up being a picture with like 30. But if you've seen the joy on the girl's face, she was taking individual pictures. She ran in the gym 100 miles an hour, had a great game. And then after the game, we were looking at Instagram, and all these girls tagged her and said, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing that. And I said to her, that's what it's about.
yeah.
Don't ever let me or anybody else stop you from giving back to the culture. So, because those young girls coming up, you made their century, not their day, their century, because
Mm,
these girls are still following us on Sisters Keeping Out. And I said to Cheyenne, there's two things that I respect. It takes a team to do these things. You've never done it by yourself. As much as you worked, you've never done it by yourself. So your sisterhood is always going to be with you, regardless of what everybody wants to say. The second
mm,
thing is you got to put in the work. Cheyenne wasn't gifted. She was stiff as a board. She was manufactured through hard
yeah.
work, living in the gym every day, and
Living in
and
that
and and,
gym.
and just putting in the work. And right now, if I tell Cheyenne, you know, Jamal Murray's playing ball right now and he's better than you, she said, "What? Let's go." Like, you gotta have that I don't care mentality. Like, I'm going at anybody. Like, you should never be afraid, because the one thing these girls learned when we went to America, they were like, yo, the end of the bench ain't afraid. They come on the court 100 miles per hour. And I said, yeah, they'll give you the best 30 seconds. So no matter what, wherever you fit in the totem pole of a team or organization in terms of basketball, you still got to give 100 miles per hour. You got 100%. You got to go hard every time. You got to respect the game and know that you're
Mm,
playing not just for your teammates, not just for the name, not just for the jersey, but you're playing for the culture and where you come from. And we preach that all the time. We say straight up, You got to do. You got to understand that you're building something that is, you're just the foundation or one of the blocks in the foundation because there's people before them. But everything you do, somebody else could build on. So if I was to tell anybody that, those tenets is things that you have to carry with you wherever you go, because those things are, nobody can take that away from you. You hear coaches say they weren't that skilled, but they worked hard as hell. And now in the NBA, and in the NBA, analytics. What is analytics? It's all the stuff that's not scoring, assists, and rebounds, and steals. It's deflections, diving on the ground, motor. Like, that's stuff that's never going to show up in the stat sheet, but now all of a sudden analytics is charting that. And people need to understand that. Basketball has grown. Everybody needs a Dennis Rodman on the team. Everybody needs a high motor. Tristan Thompson in those glory years all spoke about he gave you good defense for a few minutes against the guards. He guarded the screen and roll. Was a high motor person.
High motor.
10 years ago, that wasn't even a skill.
No, Draymond Green, high motor guy.
Exactly. So that's what I would say. Like, once you can give it all, there's a place for you. There's so much damn schools. There's so much things. There's a place for everybody. And if when in doubt, you can't go to America. There's so much good schools and good coaches in Canada that you can build something and start that legacy on this side of the border and bring Canadian basketball where people don't think of it. Oh, if I go to Canadian basketball, it's a L. No, there's ball for everybody. And there's a lot of Canadian basketball players that go over to Europe and play ball. Let's not get it twisted.
100%. Humber College has an amazing program. Amazing program, and
Humber
all
College
their
can
girls
beat some college teams.
Yeah,
in America.
and all their girls,
Easy.
They're playing pro. A lot of their girls are playing pro after that. So,
and that's a college. In America, we call that a community college that is better than a lot of big money college. That coaching staff over there does an amazing job. Like
Kingsley, we got my boy Kingsley's over there.
Kingsley's over there. The head coach. I had an interview with him the other day. AJ, real good guy. And I love to, like, we have two of our players over there, and I love to see when the players have a love for a coach on that level. You must be doing something right. You must be doing something right. He's doing right.
He's a very, very good coach, man, and he loves his players. He loves his players.
Yo, I seen him out in places where we would bring our AAU team. He's up in the place with the coaches. He's up in the place with the players, looking out for them, making sure nobody don't do them wrong. Like trust me, like I have to give credit where credit's due, and he's a good dude, and he takes care of the girls like the way we would take care of our girls. So I always show a lot of respect to people like that are going to put in the time and take care of somebody else's kids, because that's a hard thing to do. That's a very hard thing to do, because these girls will try you, boy. They'll try you. They'll tell you about yourself and your mother underneath their breath if you listen closely. Like, what you just say? Nothing. You just talked about my mother. I don't even let nobody talk about my mother. So it is what it is, So you have a girl with a team of 14, 15 players. You have 14 or 15 of different emotions at different times.
Cheese knows too. Look at Cheese. He knows.
Cheese was about to say no more basketball for me. I'm done with girls. I'm going back to boys. So
Cheese knows.
Yeah, but you know what? Once you get them and they realize you can try me as much as you want, I'm still going to be here.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing, because then they just one thing about girls, they'll run through the wall for you when they love you. They'll run through the wall for you. They'll like you have a daughter, so you understand. Yeah. I have sons. I my first kids were sons, and all of them just they love me, but I gotta call them and say, don't you know you got a daddy? You can call and check up on me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Boys love their moms. Girls love their dads, and that's how it is in basketball. Them girls years later will call and check up on you. You good? You all right? So just those type of things, you know what I'm saying? So that would be my advice, like, to coaches and players. You build that relationship with your players. They will go through the wall to you. The girls work hard. Know that there's a legacy. The people are behind you. Young girls are looking up to you. And then go 100 miles per hour every chance you can get, because you don't know how long it's going to last.
Facts. Brother, man, I really appreciate this, man. Taking the time to sit down here and talk with me, man. I'm looking forward, man, to seeing, the big things with the program in the new school, man. Like, I can't wait for that. Like, that right there is so legendary to me, man. I can't wait, man. I really, really appreciate it, though, Pat, man, sitting down here, taking your time, your efforts, man, and just,
Thank you very much,
wrapping it up with me. You've always been a guy, like a big brother to me, that I always come to and just, sit down and ask questions. You know me, I'm never afraid to knock on your door and ask you questions. You know what I
And the
mean?
door is
So
always open,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
It's always going to be open.
I appreciate it, brother, man. I want
Yes,
you to,
thank you for the opportunity.
no problem, brother. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Be safe.
All right, you too, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, yeah. That was a great interview, man. My boy Pat, man, he sat down and wrapped it up with me. That was amazing. Jay Reed, what's up, baby? Love you, brother. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. My boy Pat, man, he's one of the most solid guys that I know to come out of the city. So, I always gotta sit down and wrap up with him, man. Hey, yo, Darby, cut it out, man. Don't ever bring no LeBron James conversation in here. Why you always gotta make it about LeBron, bro? But I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. We kind of went over the limit. We're supposed to do an hour. We did almost two, but there's so much stuff we had to get out, man. We had to get out. The community, we're failing, man. We're failing right now, and people are dying, and we gotta do something about it. Like my heart was so heavy yesterday with all this pointless violence, and we got to do something about it, man. We definitely have to do something about it, and I'm definitely gonna sit down. Cheese, what's up, baby? And put our minds together, with Blackwoods and just Antwi and all these other guys who are major in the community, and we're gonna sit down, man. We're gonna come up with something to really be there because we have to be there. We cannot see any more violence or any more people dying. It's just sad, and my heart is heavy. I don't know any of these kids or the man who died in Minnesota, but my heart is heavy for him, and I got to do something about it. I have to. I cannot see any more of this killing, you know. But I appreciate all you guys, man, for sitting here and wrapping it up with me, man. We're gonna keep trying to do a couple interviews per week, man. So, shout out to Pat, for taking his time to sit here with me. Hip hop hoops, man.